during these difficult times and these serious times, I think it's great to laugh, right? It's a great time to laugh and to try to smile. And the guy we have with us on the line right now, he needs no introduction. I mean, he's the creator of the cartoon Life with Louie. Of course, you know him from his days of hosting Family Feud. He's a stand-up comedian, an actor, an author, a game show host, a legend in the business. Of course, let's not forget the show Baskets, where he won an Emmy. The legend himself calls Vegas his home. Great to have on Louie Anderson. Louie, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing great, Louie, and I want to test you on
quarantine. Who did you say was in quarantine?
Well, we're supposed to. Well, my co-host is in quarantine right now, actually, believe it or not, Louie.
Oh, no.
No, it's okay. It works out for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if you're looking for a new co-host.
Actually, yeah, that would be great, actually, Louie. Hey, Louie, I want to test your memory real quick because the last time I saw you do stand-up, you were at, I believe it was the Excalibur, and at the beginning of your show, me and my friend said, let's get Louie some donuts. We got 12 Krispy Kreme donuts. We gave it to you at the beginning of the show, and then you said one of the funniest jokes. You said, some comedians and rock stars, they get panties thrown at them. I get donuts. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. Those are good. Now, did I have a bite and then give it to the audience?
You did. Yes, you did.
Yeah.
You ate one of the donuts
That's what I thought. I ate one. And
Yes,
then probably did my Krispy Kreme joke, right?
You did, and it was hilarious, and we were dying laughing. I mean, you're always
very
hilarious.
Nice to you, it was very, very nice to you. That was a great gig. I just posted on Facebook yesterday, me and my VIPs from one of those shows 10 years ago. Can you believe it?
That is incredible. Yeah, you're a long time.
That was one of my best gigs. Adam Steck from Spy Entertainment, SPI, who does all kinds of shows. Thunder from Down Under. He brought the guys from Australia here. What are
Thunder from Down Under. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
No,
yep.
Well, not just them, but he.
Oh, the other guys too. Yeah.
The singers, the guys who did the. Who did the Motown.
We've had those guys in studio before. I'm trying to remember the name. I'm drawing a blank as well. But
Human Nature.
Human Nature. Yeah. We've had those guys in studio. They're great.
We're all trying to figure out human nature right now. That's for sure, aren't we?
Yeah, that's for sure.
I had a wonderful time over there. Adam Stack and Mr. Schechter and everybody was so nice in that thing, in that organization. And that was the old Catch a Rising Star showroom.
Right.
Correct. And Justin Elvis, I call him, Justin Heinrich, who's a great guy. All these people, you work with, and then, what happens is you don't get to see them as much. It's just kind of like, it's a family at the time. It's like Baskets.
Right.
I miss the hell out of them guys.
You still live in Vegas, though, don't you, Louie?
I do. I've been here since 1901. I had a small, I had a little show at the old Sawdust, and but yeah, in 1984, the Dunes Hotel with the Comedy Store was my first October 21st.
How old were you then?
7. I was, I guess I was 31. I'm a late bloomer. I didn't come out to L.A. till 1981, and then 84. I got the Tonight Show, and the very next night I debuted at the Comedy Store at the Dunes Hotel, and then
that is awesome. You have a lot of history here in Las Vegas. Speaking of history, I have to ask you this. One of my favorite movies of all time, you know what I'm going to say? It is Coming to America. I want to play you a line you had in the original Coming to America. I quote it all the time. It's one of my favorite lines in any movie. We want to play it for you, and then I'll have you talk about it. This is Louie Anderson in Coming to America. Have a listen to this.
Hello. Hi. I started on cleanup just like you guys. But now, see, I'm washing lettuce. Soon I'll be on fries. Then the grill. A year or two, I make assistant manager. And that's where the big bucks start rolling in.
Just 2 years, huh?
It's one of my favorite lines in any movie in my lifetime. What do you remember about filming that, just being on the set of Coming to America?
I remember how famous Eddie Murphy was, one of the things for sure, and how nice he was, but how famous. We were out on Queens Boulevard at an old Wendy's, I think, and there were 5,000 people at least out in front, and they had a cyclone fencing, kind of like they put up when they're trying to keep when a place is like walled off. And so Eddie had a bus. That was his dressing room. He had a big bus, a big celebrity bus, and we had trailers. That's how it all works. And then when that bus door would open, the fence would bow in from people trying to get a glimpse of Eddie. And I said, boy, that is a lot of responsibility, and that is a lot of fame. And, just last month, I guess it's been 2 months now, I was in Atlanta filming Coming to America 2, and I think it's just called Coming to, the number 2, America, that's going to be out at Christmas. And I couldn't have enjoyed myself more. It was like going back home, like we were talking about, with that family. Everybody was there. It was just amazing. And then yesterday, just to complete this story, I got my Employee of the Month Nikes that Giannis put out called Zoom One, but they're the Employee of the Month, which I thought was very apropos.
That is funny.
And
awesome.
I plan on wearing them to the premiere.
That is so cool. So, a lot of breakthrough performances in that first. I remember Samuel L. Jackson made a cameo, right? He was the guy who robbed the McDowells, right? Can you shed some light? Is most of the cast in Coming to America 2? I would imagine there's some things you can't talk about, and nobody wants you to ruin Coming to America 2. But can you talk about who's returning? I would imagine Arsenio Hall, Eddie Murphy. Give us the.
I mean, you can read who's returning. I'm not allowed.
Okay, I got you.
Say anything, you have to sign these things, but I can tell you this: I felt very at home. It was wonderful seeing people, and the movie. I think it's going to be $1 billion movie.
So let's talk about that. And again,
let's talk about also the effect it had.
Yes, I wanted to. That's what I wanted to get to. That's what I wanted to get to, Louie, and I'm so glad you brought that up. As you know, the plot to Coming to America, somebody who is poor. In Eddie Murphy, but in the real aspect of the movie is he's a billionaire, he's a king, and Eddie Murphy, but he plays a poor man coming to America trying to meet someone with little means, and it goes to show you that it doesn't matter how much money you have. You can meet the girl of your dreams, and she will like you for who you are, not necessarily the money you have. And I think that movie gave people a lot of hope back then, and I think it still does today. Would you agree with that?
I would, and I'll even go one step further. I've been lucky enough in my life that anytime I gig anywhere, they sent a car for me, which means I had a driver, like from the airport or whatever.
Right. Yep.
And I would say whenever I was in New York, this happened for sure. The person would go, "Oh, you're the Fry guy." And they would say they would be from Nigeria or somewhere in Africa or somewhere else in the world. And they would go, "That's why I came to this country, because of your movie." He called him my movie, which I was thrilled about. But that movie really inspired people to come to this great country. Mm-hmm. And that was a really big awakening for me. These people who could speak hardly any English still knew the power of movies, man. It's unbelievable.
Right.
But I do think we're all looking for someone to really, appreciate us for who we are. And I just love that movie. Will tell you, I had a wonderful talk with Eddie at the movie he was talking about coming out and doing stand-up again.
Oh, wow.
And I told him he could open any of my shows. And he laughed. And But he's just the nicest he's down to earth human being you could ever meet, and has done such great work. And he's a legend. He's a icon. He's done a lot of stuff, great stuff that really made us feel good. And
I agree.
Made us feel like, made us happy.
I agree. So, and I wanted to bring up Arsenio Hall too, as well, legend in his own right. So we were playing a little bit of "There Is a God," the preacher, and we were comparing that to some of the preaching of Al Sharpton. We were just having a little bit of fun with that. But Arsenio Hall did a fantastic job in Coming to America as well. What were your interactions like with him in the making of Coming to America too?
Well, Arsenio is just the greatest guy in the world, and we all had fun seeing each other. And the great thing about Arsenio is he really changed the landscape of late night. I don't think people realize that he made, he was he was colorblind and brought out lots of people who were not going to be showcased like they would be on a talk show. They might play a song, but he celebrated a lot of really talented people. And he had Clinton come on and play the saxophone. You thought outside of the box. I'll tell you one thing as an entertainer, you always love the green room. Every good entertainer goes to the show hungry. Because the green room set up with the food. But Arsenio, he had all those different kinds of meals and stuff. Those big silver warming dishes full of wonderful food and drinks and everything. He was a true, and I still have my Arsenio Hall robe.
Oh, wow.
Robes to everybody.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
He's a great guy. I loved it, and I love doing it. I love seeing them, and I love it. I'm really excited about the movie.
Yeah, we all are.
Louie, let's talk a second about Baskets. Look, it's actually on Hulu now, which is great because I would encourage anybody to watch Baskets if you didn't catch it the first time around. It's one of the best shows on television in the last, year or two, couple of years. And you were so brilliant in it, and you actually won an Emmy for your role as Christine Baskets, the mother to Zach Galifianakis' character. And so I guess, Mike, I've heard you in interviews say that the Christine Baskets character was based on your own mother, and you took a lot from her. But, it's comedy, but it's also, it's a bittersweet role, too. And you won an Emmy for that. What was that like, winning an Emmy, not just for your comedic talents, but just kind of a really, well-rounded character?
Well, it was just a dream come true that, I'm doing a show right now called Baskets of Fun with Louie Anderson. And I just there's a clip of it up on my Twitter at Louie Anderson. I interviewed the director and also Martha, and I'm going to interview Zach coming up. But I interviewed them about their experience at Baskets. And for me, my experience was I got a call from Louie, CK, and Jonathan Kreisel and Zach. And Louie said, I'm doing a show with Zach Galifianakis, and we want you to play a part. I go, yeah. I was just driving into the Plaza Hotel backstage parking because I had a show down there, which is a beautiful showroom if you've ever seen it. And they said, we want you to play his mother. And I go, yes. And they said they'd be in touch. And then 6 months later, I get a call that to come to Hollywood, not to talk to anybody about the character. It's going to be a surprise. And I went there and shot one scene in the kitchen. And I wound up to the director and I said, listen, I'm not going to change my voice. I'm just going to be real. I'm going to be as real as I possibly can.
Yep.
And I shot the scene, and then, I don't know, it must have been 5 or 6 months later that we got the call that the FX picked it up, and away we went. But
Wow, that's incredible.
It was an amazing thing, and when I won the Emmy, I was shocked and pleased and thrilled, and I thanked my mom. I think I said, "We did it, Mom," because really I based that character on my mom, my 5 sisters, and all the people in my family, that and in my life that I did. And I just tried to play a woman, patterned after my mom, who was a wonderful person who raised 11 children. So that was really good. And the voting starts the 2nd of July for this year, because we missed the cutoff date last year. So Baskets is up again for Emmys, and I'm hopeful that people will vote for me again, because you want your peers to vote for you. Sure. I think there's a lot of competition out there, but I don't think I've ever done anything better in my life, acting-wise.
Yeah, you deserve it, Louie. It's a brilliant performance.
No question.
I always tell people, don't give up on yourself, because I got my dream part when I was 61.
That's a good point. So, it's inspirational. You've worked so hard your whole life. You've had an unbelievable career. I want to ask you a little bit about your stand-up, because I've seen a lot of different comedians, like somebody who I would say is the opposite of you, who's very talented, but a dirty comedian, which is not the stuff you do, would be Bob Saget, right? You see Bob Saget, you think America's Funniest Home Videos.
I'm shocked to see Bob.
Yeah, I mean, and he's great.
They think he's going to be from the show,
Exactly, and it's the opposite. Right. Yeah. But then something I've always appreciated about you, because I like the dirty comedians and all that, but I also like the guys like you, where you can take your family to see your show and everybody is going to laugh and have a good time. You talk a lot about your family. You're self-deprecating. You talk a lot about yourself. You talk about your weight. You talk about your mom a lot. And, everybody has a kooky family in some way or another, a loving family, but, things that people can laugh about. And that's what I've always appreciated about you is, like I said, you can be 10 years old or 90 years old, go to watch Louie Anderson, and you're going to laugh, and you're not necessarily talking about politics. You're not, hating on anybody. You're just, everyone's there, and they just had a good time. And that's why I've always appreciated about your stand-up.
Well, stand-up's my first love. Everything else is great. But I'm a stand-up first and foremost. It was the thing that got me to where I am. I love it. I just had on the 23rd on the CW, they just played my special Big Underwear, which was really nice. They're doing a thing called Happy Hour on Tuesdays. And I was the first special, and that was really a nice compliment to me. Just really enjoyed it. Loved it. I guess the thing about stand-up is, let's say you're an actor or a TV person. If you're not working, this is the town. You still can have a career. You can travel around the country, but Vegas was always my town. I probably have done the majority, I would say 3/4 of my shows in my life have been done right in this town. The week after I opened here in '84, I opened the next week at Bally's as the opening act for the Commodores. Wow. And then I worked with the Pointer Sisters and Barbara Mandrell, and I opened for Smokey Robinson, and I opened for, Kenny Rogers and Glenn Campbell and Ray Charles, because I had a clean act, like you say.
Right.
Nobody, got offended. And sure. I had just the most fantastic time doing my 20 minutes and then getting to watch these superstars do what they do. I learned so much, and I have to really pinch myself sometimes to know how lucky I am and how grateful I am.
But it's deserving. Nobody handed anything to you. You earned it. I guess that we only have a couple minutes left here. This would be my last question for you. What advice would you give, not just to someone who's an up-and-coming, comedian who wants to make a living doing what you've done, but just in general to people that, and it might be a cliche, but people that want to live their dream. You just said in your 60s you finally got the role of a lifetime, and you got an Emmy. I mean, what advice would you give to people out there that are struggling right now for whatever reason, that haven't reached their, I guess you could say, their goals in life as far as their profession? What would you say to them?
Well, I would say that, you have to say to yourself, what are you doing? what do you want to do? How hard have you worked at making that happen? You know, I was talking to somebody this morning who was an opening act for another comic friend of mine, and he started doing these characters online from different states, from different perspectives, different sketches. I have to say that this is a great opportunity, this pandemic. You know, you can, if you look at yourself and dig deep in this self of yours, there's something great brewing. And even if you start your own radio show or start your own video thing, I think it's rewarding, and it'll prepare you for what is coming next. But I'll say mostly it's all up to you. I worked every day. It took me 7 years to get on the Tonight Show. And I'm telling you, that was a long 7 years.
Right.
And I was, you know, but I was really prepared. I'll say this, you can't be prepared enough to become famous or successful.
That is great
Keep
advice.
Preparing.
Yep.
Keep standing in that long line to get on the best ride in the world.
Sure.
Just don't get out of line. Don't
That
give
is
up
great.
in the middle of your journey. What else do you got going? Stay in the line. I'm telling you, if you stay in the line long enough, somebody will say, hey, what are you doing? Hey, come over here. I want to, you'll get a ride on the ride.
I love that. I love that advice. Stay in the line. That makes so much sense to me. Well, Louie, I know you're going to be very busy when Coming to America 2 comes out, but we would love to have you on the show again, around that time. That would be great.
I would love it. I would
appreciate
love
it.
Nothing would make me happier.
I would love it.
I'd love to talk to you the day after the Emmys if I win it.
Okay, I will hold you to that, Louie. Thank you so much for Louie. You are the best. You are a legend. Thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate your time. Look forward to talking to you again soon. Okay.
All right, you too. Had a blast.
Thank you, Louie. There you go. That is the legend himself, Louie Anderson, joining us on the show. You heard it. If he wins another award, he's coming on the day
We're getting him
after.
back on, and I'm going to tell his publicist that.
That's right.
Seriously, though, Brian and everybody else, watch Baskets on Hulu. His book, Hey Mom, also available in paperback.
Living legend right there, Louie Anderson. I love the stories. I love it how he's talking to Eddie Murphy on the Coming to America 2 set. And Eddie Murphy tells him, hey, I think I'm going to do stand-up again. And he says, well, good. You can open up for me. God, that is so hilarious.